Hey, welcome back to the SBP podcast, Mobile Filmmaking. You're listening to the first episode of 2024. That is episode 171. And I'm your host, Susie Botello.
We are Fade into Film.
Hey guys, welcome back. Happy New Year. It's Ryan McDonald and Levi Austin Morris. I must, for transparency and truthfulness, admit that Joey's microphone went out. So he is with us, but he's only allowed to listen. So you're not going to know. But we love you, Joey, even though you can't talk to us.
We love you, Joey.
So, hey, guys, how's your New Year's so far? I mean, 3 days in. What do you think?
Ryan?
It's going good. Yeah, it's going good.
Excellent.
Let's see. Yeah, we have. There's quite a few. I got quite a few of those Film Freeway judging announcements, emails, and those are always addicting when you get them. And so we have a couple of festivals lined up. I have a festival that I'm in Park City, but not Sundance, that I'll be going to here in 2 weeks, and they'll be playing. I made a horror film in 2022 called Ancient Evil Moon's Blood, and they'll be screening that horror film.
Is that the
there.
werewolf one?
Yes,
okay. I saw that one.
Yeah.
That one that one wasn't shot with a phone. Right?
No, we shot it with a Sony.
Well, congratulations,
like
first of all, on getting selected.
Depends on the project sometimes, and it depends on who's the DP. So on that one, we didn't use the phone.
Levi, you just got back from Australia from another mobile festival there.
Yeah.
How did it go?
I really enjoyed. It was incredible. I've never been outside the country, so I got to go to Australia for the first time, and just outside the US for the first time. And it was really exciting. I learned how much I enjoy traveling alone, and the festival was really fun. And we ended up winning Best Feature, so it was very exciting. And
nice. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And the audience response was super, super exciting. It was we were a very lively crowd. So yeah, it feels very validating when that happens. So yeah thank you, Joey.
We've got such a wonderful community, global filmmakers.
Yeah.
And I just, it's like a new year. It's like we get to do it again in just about 4 months.
Yeah.
We're going to be together at the film festival, meeting new people, making new friends.
Are you feeling prepared?
I mean, it's just so exciting. Yeah. It's like a holiday. We need a mobile filmmaking holiday.
I mean, I think your festival is kind of the holiday weekend for mobile film,
Yeah.
We were talking before about Levi's appearance into our film festival in 2015.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, and here we are. It's 2024.
It's almost 10 years. Wow.
Dude, we should be like besties by now,
yeah.
right?
Except I didn't get to meet you until 2020 or 2021. Yeah.
2021, actually, yeah. Even though you came back with the T, which is, again, I'll just say it again, it's my favorite short from Levi.
Thank you.
Is the T. I love that film. And now Paralysis is just making waves, and all those wins will account to something.
We are definitely hoping to get a distribution offer. If we don't, we're still going to self-distribute. So regardless, it will be available at some point.
We've got some really cool topics to talk about. Actually, one of them is pretty major. It's about this one thing that Ryan and Levi are doing, which is promoting their films. Filmmakers promoting films. A long time ago, filmmakers didn't promote their films. They would have agents promoting their films, right? Mm-hmm. But indie filmmakers have always, for the most part, been promoting their own films. There's so many creative ways to do that. We've gotten so accustomed to social media as being the vehicle for everything we do online. But there are other things. Like, for example, Levi and Ryan, this podcast is one vehicle for promoting your film, right?
Yeah.
And another way to do it is, of course, there's media, but there's, on social media, but there's also the fact that you can reach out to someone who has a publication. Say, hey, will you write about my film, or interview me or whatever. Another way of doing it is starting your own blog on your website, getting a website, starting a blog and writing about your video, your films. Another way to do it, which I think is also overlooked, is public speaking engagements. Looking for ways to speak. You made your film already, right? So you could go to libraries, you could go to colleges, you could, try and get into classes and things like that where they will give you some time. Usually if you're an alumni, that helps a little bit, and they'll give you some time to speak to the students. You're successful, you're in the industry they're studying, and you can share some tidbits, and they always love to have someone like that come out and speak. And then at film events, what are some other ways that you guys have tried? I'll start with Ryan. Ryan?
It is one of the more challenging things, and I wish that as well as I've done with it, there's a lot that I can see that I could still do plenty of. And one of the key pieces that I would say is, everybody has their phone, or maybe you're shooting with your phone and you're taking like your behind the scenes photos, but consider also reaching out to someone while you're making your movie to just be a dedicated on-set photographer for a few of the days that you have. So that way there's just somebody who that's their focus, and you can get some great shots of yourself directing and the actors doing their thing as well. And we did that for my feature film, Married and Loving It. I had a filmmaking friend of mine, John, come on board just to do those pieces. So it gave us a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So while you are posting later on social media, you have a lot of content that you can push out. And then we also took the time on one of the days we knew it was a short day for filming. So we set aside time for each of the actors to step away and recorded kind of like just a behind the scenes like questionnaire about like what's it like being on set, what do you think of the script, things like that. And so that we had some of that content to publish out as well. One things that I just barely did with my last short film, the Frankenstein one, is start thinking of the poster ahead of time so that while I had the actors, I could take the photos that I would need in order to put together a poster, because I'm always trying to then find it later in a still frame or behind the scenes photos that we have. And I think that oftentimes when you see a poster that's obviously not done really well, it's pretty easy to see that whoever that was having the same struggles that I was when you're always trying to pull from a behind the scenes photo. So those kind of things, if you can think of them ahead of time, if you're going to have a poster that's going to be photography, things like that. Previs your poster ahead of time, shoot the behind the scenes stuff that you're going to need, because you're going to need these little sound bites to go along.
I mean, you have studio lights and all sorts of things there already where you can use them to get like even group shots of mimicking a scene or something like that, just something fun like that, well lit, because that helps a lot for posters, because that way the more pixels, the bigger you can blow them up,
Yeah.
I mean, I would just taking that time while everybody's together to shoot these things, because your actor might be somebody who's coming in from out of town. You're not sure when you can see them again, and it's going to be hard to try to meet up just to shoot a behind the scenes interview with them. So try to grab that while you have, and then that gives you some small bites you can use. And then behind the scenes photography, like just have somebody that's just their job for that day, and helping out in that aspect, because otherwise you're going to get a bunch of selfies. That's the other thing and those are fun too at times, but sometimes you just want a great shot of yourself like directing
in the moment.
The movie. And something that's candid and not just always like a group photo where everybody's looking at the camera and smiling. But then it's like really after that, the bigger struggle, and this is something we kind of brought up a little bit off air, is when you're a filmmaker, what's that line of being a filmmaker and now a content creator at the same time? And God, I would in a dream world, I would have somebody who's like an an intern from the local college just handle all the social media stuff for me.
Yeah.
Because it's daunting to try to like
constantly be doing and promoting and engaging and
constantly pushing that. And then on top of that, let's say you have like a life event and you're like, ooh, I'm going to add this, but it has like nothing to do with any of the movies that you're making or whatever. It's just like, oh, and then there's a baby.
Yep.
But anyways, tune back in tomorrow while we cut up someone in our film. So then I wonder, and I'm posing now just questions that you guys can chime in, but like, if you have your filmmaker account and then you have like, maybe you started an account for the film itself. And then maybe you have like an account for your production team. And it's like you're trying to manage all three of these.
Yeah,
pieces.
we did kind of go over this at some point with the branding thing where I was telling people concentrate more on your own personal account than creating too many separate ones for films. Because then they fade out anyways. And then they're just sitting there and all your content that was fantastic is still there. You know?
What I've started doing, Ryan and Susie as well, but what I've started doing is specifically with Instagram is you can invite collaborators. So I've been doing that with Paralysis to my main account, where if I get if it's something that applies to both, and it always does because I'm the filmmaker and that's my film, I now do it as a collaboration between Paralysis and me, so it's on both profiles.
I've been doing that with my personal one, and just so that everybody knows, let's chime in with our Instagrams, right? Because maybe people want to see what we've got on there. Mine is Susie Botello Official, and the other one is Mobile Film SD.
Mine is at Levi Austin Morris, and then the film's Instagram is at Paralysis the Film.
Ryan?
You can find me at ryan.mcdonald.filmmaker. And that's my Instagram. So
So Instagram, and the other thing that I wanted to kind of ask you about, Levi, is social media the only way that you normally market, or are you doing other things, or do you have any ideas for doing other things?
So I'm going to piggyback first off of something that Ryan had said. So we, for Paralysis, our producer was our behind the scenes photographer. So she, throughout every shooting day, was shooting stuff, and it made for very interesting content specifically for us, because we did crowdfund and raise money through a crowdfunding platform. It benefited us so that the people who contributed could constantly see updates on what we were working on, and that we were putting the money toward what we said we were. So I think that that's beneficial. I also think that fellow artists really appreciated that. Fellow creators really appreciated that, because we ended up getting more and more followers based off of, hashtags that we were using, or, like indie filmmaker or mobile filmmaking. Like our page just grew more and more. I also think that making interesting things, maybe not directly related to the behind the scenes, can be fun for people if it's engaging. So like we have the sleep paralysis demon in our film, and I photoshopped her head onto a tiny cute little body, and I would like make little things for the posts just for engaging people.
I remember these.
And people thought it was cute and they thought it was fun, and but also the planning the poster thing I think is so smart. It's something that we started doing, that I started doing during the tea. I had planned ahead of time what I wanted that poster to look like, and every film since I have planned the poster ahead of time. Actually, I did not plan. I can't take credit for Paralysis. The Paralysis poster I was still considering, but we had set up lights for one of our shots, and it was the light coming through the back door, sort of like imitating moonlight. And an actor was standing in front of it, and one of the people on set was like, "Oh God, this is a really cool photo," and she started snapping photos of our lead actress in that spot. And then I was like, let's get the hag in there. And then I got over there and I started taking shots as well. And that ended up being our poster. I just played with it
Nice.
and edited it. Yeah. So I think being open to moments on set as well, because we were in the middle of setting up a shot and it just happened to catch somebody's eye. And I saw that moment and I was like, this is so good. And this is going to be the poster. So yeah, being open to it. As far as things that are like not social media things, I'm sort of just entering that phase with paralysis. Like we're getting to the point of self-distribution. But I will say, building off of something that Susie said, one of the things that we did is we reached out to various publications to get reviews to see if people were interested in reviewing the film. And I think, on IMDb, I think we have 7 critic film reviews, but I think we probably have closer to like 10 or 13. That some of them are not on IMDb. And then somebody posted the film on Letterboxd, which is another social media app for films, and people can rate and review them. And so like now users who have seen it at film festivals have started to review the film on Letterboxd as well, which is both. There's a good and a bad to that. Like I think reviews, filmmakers in general take it with a grain of salt, but also like it's a great marketing thing. For us, I think some of the perks that we came up with for paralysis have sort of grown legs and sort of given new life to our marketing. So we had those little Haggerty Ann dolls that we created for some of our contributors if they, contributed a certain amount of money. And at this point, that has become kind of a massive tool for us in our social media marketing, as well as when we're actually at a festival. We bring one of those dolls to every single festival. And then during the festival, I think, God, when did I start doing it? Did I give it away at your festival or not, Susie?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I know
It might have been after
had
that.
it.
Yeah, it might have been after that. Because yours was only the second festival we were in, so I don't know if I actually gave it away at your festival. But I think starting at our third or fourth festival, we started giving away one of those dolls at every festival. Like, during the Q&A, or if there's somebody who seemed to really, really enjoy the film. And like we have a moment with them, we'll let them have the doll, and then they ultimately end up posting it on social media and tagging us.
That is actually a really good idea. In 2013, I'm just now remembering this. I still have this thing. It's like a plush toy, basically. One of the winners of the short films back then, the filmmakers gave me. They walked up to me and gave me one of the characters in the film. And it was so cute. It was such a cute gift. I totally did not expect it, but that's right.
But it's
sitting at the foot of my bed right now.
It ends up being a very memorable thing. And I feel like it sort of adds to the experience. So at the festival in Australia, for instance, what we got to do is during the Q&A, we were doing that, and I'm like, oh, I do have this doll. And then the festival director was like, oh, let's do it like a wedding bouquet. So anybody who's interested, come down, and then Levi will throw it behind him. So it ended up being this memorable thing in general at the festival. And the woman who won it like posted on social media, and she's following both my page and the film, but it's just something that like if they.
So I would call this gamifying it.
Call it what?
It's like gamifying your marketing, like kind of making it like a fun game,
immersive
having
experience,
a strategy.
Yeah, something people can engage with. Yeah.
Well, you made it into a little bit of a competition too.
Yeah, it was different for every festival, but and I wish I had the foresight to do it at every festival, but it's one of those things, like Ryan said, like indie filmmakers, it's not really something that you want to do, and you wish you could certainly hire somebody to do it for you, but it is a necessity. And it's something you have to get creative with, and so it's fun to think of creative things that you can do. And and it is very much a trial and error. Some things work and some things don't. We've had posts that had no engagement, and I was like, great, now we won't do another one like that, you know?
Another thing to do is going on that same theme of having a photographer to create content. Another thing that you could do is literally create a documentary.
Ooh, that's so much more work, though.
I'm going to share again what Joey did here with one of the films that he worked on, which I shared it on the last episode, but for those of you who missed it, I'll share it again in the notes here. It's basically he and a couple other people that were working with him were shooting a documentary. Basically, it was more like a vlog. Were telling their experience on working on this film. You know, they were staying at an Airbnb, and then they were walking over to the set, and then they got some shots of the set. It's not like a full-on documentary. It's vlog-style documentary in a way, but it was very well done, and Joey edited that, and I know he can't speak to it right now, but I just want to let you know that people do vlogs anyways, you know, when they do their live, you know, talking head thing. But this other way of doing it is a little more productive. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. I also think that if you do go the festival route, really use your announcements as, you know, like your like, oh, we got into a film festival. You know, that is absolutely an incredible marketing tool, not only for the festivals and, you know, and they're putting on it's a lot of work to put on a festival. So like they want you to.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah,
exactly, right? But they want you to share, but also like it ends up being just an exciting thing to share with your audience and to engage with your audience. And so I think like updating your poster or, you know, like even choosing stills from, you know, maybe like unreleased stills that, you know, you haven't shared yet and throw the laurel on there. Just so it's like, oh, that's a new image I haven't seen of this project. Yeah, I think, yeah.
On top of that, though, like, you know, when you're submitting to a film festival, a lot of them always check to see if, you know, how much is the feedback submission part. Now, I don't condone every one of those on the festival fees per se, but some of them offer it as part of their festival. Sure. Some of them, it's like they just offer it just within any submission. Yeah. Some of them you have to pay for it, but. And it's not always bad. There was a festival that reviewed my feature film, Married and Loving It, and you can tell from the way that they reviewed it that they would never have liked the movie to begin with anyways. Yeah. Like there's just certain things they just didn't get
the brand of humor
yeah, exactly. Like it was just, but they almost irritantly like wrote like it has more F words than a Quentin Tarantino movie.
As if that's an insult. Hello.
Yeah. No, I think they probably meant it as a compliment.
Yeah. No, based upon the rest of the review, like you could tell that they didn't get the movie. Yeah. By any means.
So you should have worn that as a badge of honor and put that on your poster.
It is.
Like, is it?
It is.
Hell yeah.
It is on the poster.
Yes, use that. Absolutely
on the poster.
I love that so much.
Because that was what I was. You know, at this moment, still, it's the only feature film I've made. So I was in my mind going like, if you have one shot and I wanted it to be like Casino or Big Lebowski, we're just going to have, you know, X amount of F word count. So, yeah. So when I got that, as the person was like, it's just, you know, and it has more F words than the Quentin Tarantino movie. And I was like, ooh, like you said that as a negative, but.
Honestly, I love
they
that.
really did mean it as
That's
a
smart.
negative.
That's so smart. Yeah.
That's funny.
And so so it's the first thing you see on the poster.
Hell yeah.
So you know you find a way to find the gems in some of the sound bites that people give you back, and where you can use those to put on top of your picture, like you're saying, for when you go to post it, and definitely utilize the laurels as you get them.
You know, Jason said something about what a great festival it was, right? Mm-hmm. And I quoted him on it and put it on as a quote in one of the articles that I wrote about the festival. Yeah. And then I did you in my podcast. You can always go back and you know, it doesn't have to be your podcast. You can always go back to one of our podcasts, right? together, Levi, and say, hey, I like what I said here, and just pull that quote and add it on to something.
Sure.
Whether it was something you said or whether it was something I said, I sure gave you enough compliments. I'm sure you can pull something.
I mean, we do already have 3 on our poster, so I would have to use it somewhere else.
Right? Yeah. But for other people, sometimes they don't think of things like that. When someone says something about you, especially in a public format, like don't go... I don't think it's nice to publish emails and things like that are meant for you.
Sure.
And messages and texts and things like that. But I think it's okay if it's put out by that person out in public, right? That you can take that as a quote. Look what they said about my thing.
Yeah.
My movie. That's another one. Now, what about, have you guys ever, this is something that I don't see anymore, that I used to see a lot, which is the postcards. People making postcards for their films.
Yeah. I brought them to every festival. I messaged, or I sent them out. So we definitely have postcards. Beyond
the festivals, though. I mean...
Yeah.
Because the people that are already there are already there.
Yeah.
But what about,
Well, I also I have business cards, so I have the postcards as well with a QR code so people can find the film. But I also have business cards, so anytime I'm out and about and we find yourself chatting about the movie, then I can pull out a business card and hand it over where they can scan it, take them to the film, and it has a list of the laurels that we want. It has the F word thing on there.
Hell yeah.
And so we, and then like in a few weeks here in Park City, we're going to be having Sundance, and so like as I'm going up there for, as I said already, for another festival, only a few days before Sundance, like I got a stock of of posters.
That's smart.
And business cards I'm planning on littering that town with. So if you happen to be in Park City anytime that's around that area, let me know if you see a poster.
There's also ways, because you were talking about the QR code. Something I've done at events before was I would create a page on my website just with stuff I would want to say to someone at an event that I was like networking in. And then I would create a code, QR code, and with a graphic or whatever, and then just laminate it.
Yeah.
And then I would take it with me. And when someone would ask, because, I would get business cards, and unless I quickly wrote something behind the business card or somewhere on there about that person to recall who it was that gave it to me, I'd have no idea who that was. Especially if you get it, if you find it, weeks later or something. Which one was this one?
Well,
I created mine was like it was a poster. It was a business card size, and I keep it in a business card holder. But it doesn't have my contact info on it. It's a poster of the film, and on the backside is like Laurel's reviews, and then then the QR code, but in that size.
But if you put the QR code onto a web page, just a one single page with an image, maybe some quotes of reviews, and the embed of the trailer or something, like all in one place, like people will scan it and see it right there and then. And I've done that. I did that at Comic-Con and places like that. The other day, I regretted it because the other day I went out and I happened to mention the podcast with several people, and I was astounded. This is happening more, where people say, oh, where can I find it? Where is it? How? And I can give them the URL, but I'm thinking I need to create something like that for myself, or where I can just say, here, scan the code, or print business cards. I'm due for business cards anyways, but still, I think the QR codes are underrated.
Yeah,
you can literally open it up to a movie right there and then, wherever you happen to be.
Building off of what Ryan is saying, I went to AFM, American Film Market, with my producer and my lead actress, just to sort of...
And you met up with James and Caroline there?
Yeah, no. I met with them. They were here for a film festival, so I met with them to go see their film at the festival, which was fantastic. it's unrelated to this, but it is a fantastic
Yeah.
film, and I think everybody should see it. It's very funny.
And it's a fantastic couple.
They're an
too.
incredible couple. I adore them. But yeah, AFM. But we brought both the postcards and we have business cards, also with a QR code to sort of bring somebody to the trailer, the IMDb, our reviews. But also, I think the main thing that just me in general, I think as a person and as a filmmaker, I received a lot of business cards when I was at AFM from a lot of different people. It really is the people that I had a genuine connection with that I remember, that I was excited to share my project about. So I think, and I know it's an exhausting and daunting thing, but still focus on having genuine connections with people, because they'll be more excited about seeing your project. They'll be more excited about supporting your project. If you're just schmoozing, if you're just sort of looking to climb a ladder, it's obvious, it's visible, it's uninteresting, and people are not going to remember you. Or if they do, they'll remember you for the wrong
Another
reasons.
thing I've seen on some business cards and things, photos of people, and I never in my life thought about doing that myself until I saw it, and I was like, this is how you remember.
I mean, unfortunately,
That person
ours is
you
the
talked
hag.
for
It's not
10
my
minutes.
face, but
Well, but you,
yeah.
but you're the director.
Yeah.
You're the filmmaker. These are kind of the replacement for a business card, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm not in for printing. I'm not really. I don't promote printing thing. I'm like, I love trees.
Sure.
So you could call me a tree hugger or whatever you want to call me. But I think the QR code is just perfect for that, because you can build a page with links and embeds and things like that. But if you're going to print a business card of some sense, I could tell you from my own experience, as soon as one of those cards that I had, from the many that I had a picture on it, it's like, oh, I remember talking to this person.
Yeah, and I would say another thing, building off of something that you said a while ago, Susie, is taking every opportunity that's offered. I mean, I would say not every opportunity. Like have boundaries. Boundaries are healthy. But taking the opportunities that that inspire you or excite you or whatever. Like I know somebody. I worked with somebody who is a filmmaker about 10 years ago on a web series, and we've stayed social media friends, but we haven't really engaged with each other. And while I was in Australia, he reached out and he said, I'm teaching students film now, and I'm really inspired by your journey with paralysis, and I would love for you to come and speak to the students about the process of making this film, about making a film with no budget and being resourceful and all those things. And so we haven't scheduled it yet because holiday break happened, but in the new year, I will be going and speaking about that. And that is, even though it's an educational thing for these students, it's also incredible marketing for the film, and to talk about with people who are future filmmakers and are excited about filmmaking. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about, basically public speaking almost.
Yeah.
You just don't know who you speak with, who you take the time to talk to and entertain and inspire with what you're doing, how they're going to respond and remember you later, either.
Yeah.
Bring you up, because people will bring you up in conversations when the subject comes up. I know I have a lot of friends from way back then who would walk up to me and go, hey, somebody at the Academy Awards or whatever shot something. I think it was like that Sugar. What was that name of that documentary? It was about the artist, the musician, the singer.
Sugar Man, yes. Mm-hmm. When that came out and that guy won an award and they found out that he shot part of it, the ending really, with his phone. Yeah. People on my Facebook, I mean, I got all kinds of messages and things, and they were like, oh, we thought of you. I thought of you. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of my friends refer to me as I'm the mobile film guy.
Right.
Because I've made a lot of films with a mobile film or with a mobile camera.
Yeah.
So I'm not ashamed of that. Like that, there's pride in that, and I feel like maybe that's my brand, but I think. Yeah, that's not my brand. I have more to my brand.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the mobile film guy is not like the most. I mean, because there are people who get that.
Yeah.
Now, I was called a long time ago. Somebody on LinkedIn called me the mobile film diva, and I was like, okay,
Wear
no.
that with pride.
you I know I say this to you out of all people, you're like, wear it.
Yeah.
But at the time I was like, I'm not a diva, it's like
Girl,
mobile filmmaking.
Well, I still people I went to film school with 10 years ago, when I made the latest short film, I still message them and hit them up to be like, hey, remember when we were shooting whatever 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Well, now I went and did this Frankenstein film. Check it out.
That's cool.
So you still hold the connections and keep on networking, especially when you meet people from different places like Caroline and James. That was they reshared my film across the pond.
Yeah.
And it's just like helping get out of that little bubble that you might be in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you're doing it right, one of the great pleasures I have is, let's say I'm out in town and I'm bumping into people who I do know, and they're already juiced into what I was doing.
Yeah.
They can be like, oh, hey, like, oh man, I saw your film, or hey, like, how'd that go? Or how'd your shoot go? And it's like, we're already halfway into a conversation that I didn't even have to start.
Yep.
They didn't have to say, because they are seeing the content, because I'm pushing the content out there as well. So they know I'm filming something, or that it's done, or that's finished, or whichever.
Or
and
when's
so
the next one coming? Or yeah.
So if you're doing it right, then people will know that you've been working on something that's going to be amazing, that's coming up, and that you're traveling the world with it, or
and I like
however it goes.
Even with what you're saying, like I think, like, I mean, it's kind of like, but okay, rewind like to basically 2016. I've been a filmmaker for a while, but in 2016, I decided to really try to make the bulk of my money from doing commissions and art and stuff, because I was tired of holding down these part-time jobs while trying to pursue my film endeavors. And I thought, I'll do painting for supplemental income, and then I'll do my filmmaking. And I got so sucked into my painting stuff, my commissions and everything, because people were asking for them, that I ultimately basically stopped working on film, and I was so unhappy. And at one point, one of my friends was like, well, aren't you happy? Isn't this what you want? Because all I was posting was painting stuff. And I realized, no, like I need to be promoting. It's also a little bit about manifestation, like I need to be promoting what I want to do, what like the work that I've done, the project that I'm working on. So like I was at that point, I was like, you know what? I stopped taking commissions. I started posting like, okay, I've got this many scripts done. I've got, like I'd like to go into production, like, and just more.
That's actually a good way to get people to hop in.
Yeah.
It's almost an invitation. I'm working on a screenplay, and then you start to get messages from people, hey, when you're done with that, or if you ever want someone's opinion, or if you're gonna shoot it.
That's
right?
literally how I got my producer for Paralysis. Like I was friends. We had a mutual friend, and I met her at the mutual friend's goodbye party when the friend was moving to Colorado from LA. And she and I followed each other on social media. And then when I finished the script for Paralysis and posted about it, she was like, hey, I'm a producer. I love horror. This is what I want to do with my life. Like, let's do this. And I was very hesitant. We had a Zoom meeting that was supposed to last for 30 minutes, and it lasted for 2 hours. And now she's one of my very best friends, and we produce together. Like she's absolutely incredible. And it came from literally a social media engagement. So yeah.
Can't knock them.
Can't knock it.
Yeah. And then at the same time, keep a knocking.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing too. It makes it very hard. So would you guys say that, in a way, even though there's a filmmaker is not technically a content creator, would you say that filmmakers also do need to be content creators for the marketing part?
I mean, I think.
You're no longer, if you're going to be an indie film director, like you're not just the director, and you're not just the writer either. Like, you are the producer.
Yeah.
Even if in Levi's case, we had a producer, like, you're here to see the movie all the way to the end, and that end is beyond its distribution too. So it's not so
because content creators are aside from filmmakers. A lot of content creators, like a podcaster is a content creator creating content, but it's not a film. It's a podcast, it's a show, it's a program.
Yeah.
And there are people who do that without having any connection to film. But I think it's like Ryan is saying, that you get to play all these multiple parts, but they don't necessarily have to be part of filmmaking. I mean, they just come into filmmaking. They come in and they help as a tool, kind of like, even though Joey can't say it right now, I would love to be able to just have Joey answer about and share, but he shared it before that he cooks for the crew.
Yeah.
He makes sure that they get their energy from food, and he makes that food for them. And that's not a filmmaker's hat per se, right?
Crafties for cheap.
Crafties for cheap, Joey. Crafties for cheap.
Yep. So there's so many things. So probably at the beginning of all of this, once our listeners are listening to all these examples, and maybe you're taking a mental note on these things, going on to podcast articles, whether you're doing online or in-person events, cards and promo cards with QR codes or business cards, speaking engagement at schools, whatever it may be, while you're getting all these things in your head going, I could do this, I could do that. Forming a strategy, I think, is the key to getting you there, so you don't get overwhelmed. How do you because you were bringing this up about being healthy about it. How do you form a strategy, over time? Like, for example, during production, you want to do something during production, especially the accumulation of your content, right? The photographs and all those opportunities and little videos and whatever. And maybe some promotion too, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, during post, you want to keep up the momentum going. And then after that, as you're getting into film, but at some point, there are times when it's like it's got to be like snappy.
Yeah.
Because things are happening, right?
Yeah. So for paralysis, at least during production and just post-production, I had actually sat down with my producer, and we actually created a schedule of what we would be posting. And so it was like a 4-hour meeting, and we actually went through and we were like, this is what we're going to do this day. This is what we're going to do this day. We weren't as married to it as maybe
the project itself.
Yeah, exactly. We were open to things changing. So if people were not engaging with certain things, we would switch it up. If people were engaging more with certain things, we would do more of that. And then post project, it really is about, I mean, at least for me, like I like to engage, but I'm also like, I don't want to annoy people. I don't want to be like, oh, look, another thing, another this, another that. So it's more like, if something is exciting, if there's exciting news, if there's movement, if there's something, it's coming up with a creative thing to post in that moment. And so, or, planning when we'll post it,
I just heard Joey's mind sort of say, that quantity is important in this thing.
I mean, it is because, but I also like with that quantity, I think that there needs to be some substance to it. Instead of just like, please go check out paralysis or please do this, it's like, check out this cool thing or look at this unseen, yet to be seen behind the scenes, or like, check out what people are saying, like it's creative ways of presenting that quantity,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right, Ryan, what was your? Did you have an actual strategy for yours?
Oh, probably not as well as well played as Levi's.
I know
but
that's.
I mean, I did with Married in Love. I did sit down and go. I was gonna try to make a post, try to do it daily, and it was gonna be like memes that I would create.
Yeah.
For like on Thursday. Then it was like gonna be behind the scenes on this day, things like that. It's hard to keep up, and that's where I've.
It is.
Said, gosh, I would love to have
consistent.
Somebody who's maybe that's the
their assigned job or something.
Yeah, but they'll do their assigned job for little to no money, depending on our budget.
Well, I think also there's a thing about having, one of the advantages that Levi has is the group team thing. I
won't lie though, I am the only one who does the social media, so nobody else does the social media.
But you form the strategy and the schedule, and you stay on top of it, right? I remember you telling me something at one point that you were taking turns on something, on a part of that.
It's probably when we were building the Instagram. One of the things that we were doing is we were coming up with
the
contests, creative stories. So like every week it would be written by somebody new on the team, and that was leading up to, and it was just like a fun little engaging thing to do with people. Leading up to the release of our campaign, it was how can we draw people to our page, and so it was like we were creating sort of a story as we went, and the audience could engage with it. And we did the sort of hashtag challenge, and the person who came up with the best hashtag ended up being the slogan for our film, which is "Sweet Screams." Thank you, Jackie Pimentel, for that. But there's a lot of fun and engaging things that we came up with as a team, and even the perks. Like when we were coming up with the perks, we had meetings, and the guy who's the composer for our film is the one who came up with the Haggerty Ann dolls, and they ended up being one of the most successful things that we have. So it's just like that was, we had a team of 8. So
I would say also, coming from my background in sales, there were a lot of times with just promoting our film festival by itself. Like sometimes way back in the beginning, it would feel awkward because I was with people, and I could be at a grocery store and I would be with someone and they were like, oh God, she's like networking at the grocery store, basically, promoting the film festival. And the thing is, like, you think like, oh, there's like people have networking events, right? Because, you're going to find people that are all acquainted with that one thing, whatever that is, whether it's film or music or entrepreneurship, whatever it may be. But the thing is that you can walk out of your front door, walk down the street, go to the Starbucks or whatever, and wherever there are people, there is no reason. I am the living proof of this. It seemed like everyone that I speak to, for some reason, has some connection to somebody who wants to make a movie, and this may be really cool for them, making a movie with a smartphone, or someone who wants to be an actor, and then I'm turning that, well, actors should be making movies with their phones and getting their work out there and blah, blah, blah. You don't have to go to a specific event to network with people. You have free people, free audiences out there. I've started talking to 3 people at a Starbucks, and next thing I know, I had 12 people listening to me. And it's because you just have to, and this happens more when you're passionate about your project, right? Did you ever do things like that?
I mean, I recently started dating again, and I feel like every date is like me marketing my film. They're like, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm an indie filmmaker. Let me tell you about paralysis.
There you go. There you go. That's the best pickup line of the year. And we just started.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but that is an audience.
Sure.
You know, and it started back when I would say, you have a phone. Did you know you can make a movie with a phone? Who doesn't have a phone?
Yeah.
Who doesn't have a story? Who doesn't know somebody who likes to watch movies? You know, things like that. It's just a matter of, I guess, in a way, you do have to be able to engage in conversation with complete strangers.
Yeah.
But that's what you're doing in networking anyways.
Yeah.
So, guys, I think we've given everyone some pretty good
Absolutely.
good juice.
Yeah. That felt very productive and
Yeah. I think you know, for our listeners, just select some of these things and just start working on them instead of just doing the same things that you normally do or that you see other people doing. Try to come up with creative ideas of your own. And don't think like you need, you know, 1,000 likes for people to listen or to hear you or to remember you.
yeah.
You know, and to think of you and to contact you. And then when they start their projects, when they know how passionate you were about yours, when they're starting their passionate project, they may contact you as well.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who have reached out to me since the tea, probably, asking for
That would be me.
Yeah, asking for advice on how to begin smartphone filmmaking. So, like, you know, I've certainly been a massive spokesperson, but I think that, like, just in general, being open to, you know, like, once you start creating sort of that platform for yourself, being open to people reaching out and asking those questions. And yeah.
Listen to Fade into Film.
And the yeah.
Yes, listen to the SBB podcast. Okay, guys, if that's the case, because I feel like we really rounded this up pretty well.
I agree.
So go and follow these guys and make sure you stay tuned to all the news that we're going to be coming out with on a timely manner now that we've hit 2024. I also want to let the filmmakers who've been submitting films to our film festival, we have one last deadline, and that is January 13th.
Wow.
January 13th is the
up.
deadline, and that's the shorts. That's the last of the shorts to be submitted. Watch your emails. Don't want to miss emails from us. Yeah, I'm really looking forward. Start clearing out the calendars, even if you don't participate in the film festival. It's open to everybody.
I mean, last year we had that guy come who wasn't a part of the festival.
Yeah, that's so cool, right? Okay. So did you guys memorize the song that I sent you guys an email? This little song for the Fade into Film that we were going to sing together in unison?
You're a liar, Susie. You're a liar and you know it.
Wait, it's not April Fool's in January? No? Okay. Well, there is one song that we always sing, and that is Goodbye, Listeners.
Bye.
See you next time.